First contact and cultural clash. The vast expanse of space had always called to humanity, a siren song of endless possibilities and untold wonders. But on that fateful day in 2157, as the starship Horizon breached the atmosphere of Kepler 186f, Captain Sarah Chen realized that nothing could have prepared her crew for what awaited them. The alien world stretched out before them, a tapestry of purples and blues unlike anything they'd seen on Earth. Massive floating islands drifted lazily through the sky, connected by bridges of light that pulsed with energy. As the horizon descended towards the designated landing zone, Sarah felt a mix of excitement and trepidation coursing through her veins. "All systems are go for landing," reported Lieutenant Jack O'Neill, his Irish lilt carrying a hint of nervousness. "The Keplerians have cleared us for touchdown." Sarah nodded, her eyes fixed on the rapidly approaching surface. "Take us in nice and easy, Jack. Let's not give our hosts any reason to regret inviting us." The ship touched down with barely a tremor, a testament to Jack's piloting skills. As the engines powered down, Sarah turned to address her crew. "Remember, we're here as ambassadors of Earth. Our mission is to establish peaceful relations and learn from the Keplerians. Stay alert, stay respectful, and above all, stay curious." The airlock hissed open, and Sarah led her team out onto the alien soil. The air was thick with a sweet, cloying scent that reminded her of overripe fruit. Ahead, a delegation of Keplerians waited, their elongated bodies swaying gently in the breeze. Ambassador Zixtol stepped forward, its iridescent skin shimmering in the light of the planet's twin suns. "Welcome, humans of Earth," it said, its voice a melodious trill that seemed to bypass their ears and resonate directly in their minds. "We are honored by your presence and look forward to sharing knowledge and culture." Sarah bowed slightly, following the protocol they'd been briefed on. "The honor is ours, Ambassador. We come in peace and friendship, eager to learn from your people." As the formal greetings concluded, the humans were escorted to a floating platform that would take them to the city. Sarah couldn't help but marvel at the technology. The platform moved silently, guided by what appeared to be nothing more than the thoughts of the Keplerian operator. Dr. Aisha Patel, the team's xenobiologist, leaned in close to Sarah. "Captain, I've never seen anything like this. Their bioengineering is centuries beyond ours. The implications for medicine alone are staggering." Sarah nodded, her mind already racing with the possibilities. "Document everything, Aisha. This could change everything back home." As they approached the city, the true scale of Keplerian architecture became apparent. Structures that seemed to defy gravity spiraled into the sky, their surfaces alive with bioluminescent patterns that shifted and changed. Sarah felt a sense of vertigo, her human mind struggling to comprehend the alien beauty before her. The platform docked at a central spire, and the team was led into a vast chamber, filled with Keplerians of various hues and sizes. At the center stood a being unlike any they'd seen, taller than the others, with a crown of crystalline structures adorning its head. "Behold," Zixtel announced, "the sovereign of Kepler 186f, exalted one Vrinsa." The humans bowed deeply, acutely aware of the importance of this moment. Vrinsa's voice, when it spoke, was like a symphony. "Rise, children of Earth. We have long awaited this day, when our peoples would finally meet. There is much to discuss, much to share." Over the next several hours, Sarah and her team engaged in a whirlwind of cultural exchange. They learned of the Keplerians' history, a species that had evolved to harness the very essence of their world, shaping matter and energy with their minds. In return, they shared Earth's story, a tale of struggle, innovation, and relentless curiosity that had driven humanity to the stars. As the day wore on, Sarah began to notice a subtle undercurrent of tension among some of the Keplerians. Whispered conversations in corners, furtive glances cast their way. She made a mental note to discuss it with Zixtal when the opportunity arose. That chance came sooner than expected. As they were being shown to their quarters for the night, Zixtol pulled Sarah aside. "Captain Chen, there is a matter of some delicacy we must discuss. It concerns a threat to both our peoples." Sarah's brow furrowed. "A threat? Ambassador, we've only just met. What could possibly threaten both Earth and Kepler 186f? Zixtol's skin rippled with what Sarah had come to recognize as anxiety. "It is not a what, Captain, but a who. There are others out there, beyond our star systems. They call themselves the Void Heralds, and they seek to remake the galaxy in their image. We have kept them at bay for centuries, but our defenses are weakening. We had hoped that humanity might be the key to our survival." Sarah felt a chill run down her spine. This was far beyond the scope of their mission, but she knew in her gut that this information could change the course of human history. "Tell me everything, Ambassador. If there's a threat out there, Earth needs to know." As Zixtol began to explain, Sarah's mind raced. She had come to Kepler 186 expecting to bridge the gap between two civilizations. Now, it seemed, she would be laying the groundwork for an alliance that could determine the fate of two species, and perhaps the entire galaxy. The next morning, Sarah gathered her team in their assigned quarters, their faces a mix of excitement and concern as she relayed what Zixtal had told her. "Void Heralds," Dr. Patel repeated, her voice hushed. "It sounds like something out of a science fiction novel." Lieutenant O'Neill leaned forward, his expression grim. "But it's all too real, isn't it, Captain? These aliens wouldn't have reached out to us if they weren't desperate." Sarah nodded, her gaze sweeping across her team. "That's right, Jack. The Keplerians have been fighting a silent war for centuries, and now they're looking to us for help. The question is, are we ready for this? Can humanity step up and face a threat we never knew existed?" Chief Engineer Maya Rodriguez spoke up, her voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. "With all due respect, Captain, do we have a choice? If these Void Heralds are as dangerous as the Keplerians say, it's only a matter of time before they find Earth. We need to be prepared." Sarah felt a surge of pride in her crew. Despite the enormity of what they were facing, they were ready to rise to the challenge. "You're right, Maya. We don't have the luxury of burying our heads in the sand. But before we can even think about fighting, we need to understand what we're up against. Isa, I want you to work with the Keplerian scientists. Learn everything you can about the Void Heralds, their biology, their technology, their weaknesses." Dr. Patel nodded, her eyes gleaming with the prospect of new discoveries. "I'm on it, Captain. If there's a way to stop them, we'll find it." "Jack, Maya," Sarah continued, "I need you two to study the Keplerian defenses. Their tech is light years beyond ours, but there might be ways we can adapt it or improve upon it. Look for any edge we can get." As her team dispersed to their assigned tasks, Sarah felt the weight of responsibility settle on her shoulders. She had come to Kepler 186 as an explorer and diplomat. Now, she found herself thrust into the role of humanity's first line of defense against an interstellar threat. Over the next few days, the humans immersed themselves in Keplerian knowledge. Dr. Patel spent hours in deep discussion with alien biologists, piecing together the nature of the Void Heralds. What she learned was both fascinating and terrifying. "They're not like us, Captain," she reported during one of their nightly briefings. "The Void Heralds aren't a single species. They're a collective of beings that have merged with advanced technology. They consume entire planets, breaking them down to their constituent elements to fuel their expansion." Sarah felt a chill run down her spine. How do the Keplerians fight against something like that? Dr. Patel's expression was grim. "With great difficulty. The Keplerians have developed weapons that can disrupt the Herald's techno-organic systems, but it's a constant arms race. Every time they find a weakness, the Heralds adapt." Meanwhile, Jack and Maya were making progress of their own. The Keplerian defense systems were marvels of engineering, blending organic components with energy manipulation on a scale that defied human understanding. "It's incredible, Captain," Maya explained, Her eyes alight with excitement, despite the dark circles that spoke of sleepless nights. Their shields don't just deflect energy, they absorb and redirect it. And their weapons, they're not just destroying targets, they're unmaking them at a fundamental level. Jack nodded in agreement. The problem is, it all relies on the Keplerians' natural abilities. We can understand the principles, but without their mental link to the technology, we can't replicate it. Sarah considered this information, her mind racing with possibilities. So we need to find a way to bridge that gap, to interface our technology with theirs in a way that doesn't require their unique biology. As the days turned into weeks, the cultural exchange that had been the original purpose of their mission took on new urgency. The humans and Keplerians worked side by side, each bringing their unique perspectives and skills to bear on the problem of the Void Heralds. But even as progress was made, tensions began to rise. Not all Keplerians were happy with the idea of sharing their advanced technology with the newcomers. Whispers of dissent echoed through the floating cities, and Sarah often caught sight of furtive glances and hushed conversations that stopped abruptly when humans approached. The situation came to a head during a high-level meeting with Sovereign Vrinsa and the Keplerian Council. As Sarah presented their latest findings and proposals for cooperation, a council member named Drelevor rose to its full height, its skin flashing with patterns of agitation. "This is madness," Drelevor declared, its mental voice reverberating with anger. "We barely know these humans, and yet we consider entrusting them with our most sacred technologies. They are children playing with forces beyond their comprehension." Murmurs of agreement rippled through the council chamber. Sarah felt her heart race, knowing that everything they had worked for hung in the balance. She stepped forward, her voice clear and unwavering. "Honored Council, I understand your concerns. We are newcomers to your world and to the galactic stage. But consider this, it is precisely our newness that may be our greatest strength. The Void Heralds have faced your defenses for centuries, adapting and evolving. But humanity, we're an unknown variable. Our ways of thinking, our approaches to problem-solving, they're different from anything the Heralds have encountered before." She paused, letting her words sink in before continuing. "We don't ask for your trust blindly. We offer partnership, a combining of our strengths. Humanity's adaptability and innovative spirit, paired with your advanced technology and cosmic wisdom. Together, we have a chance to turn the tide against a threat that endangers us all." The chamber fell silent as the Keplerians considered her words. Even Drelevor seemed taken aback by the passion and conviction in Sarah's speech. Finally, Sovereign Vrinsa spoke, its voice carrying the weight of ages. "Captain Chen speaks with wisdom beyond her years. It is true that we have fought this war alone for too long. Perhaps it is time for a new approach." The Sovereign turned to address the Council. "We shall put it to a vote. Do we stand with humanity against the darkness that threatens us all?" As the Council members cast their votes, Sarah held her breath. The future of two worlds, and perhaps the entire galaxy, hung in the balance. When the final tally was announced, she felt a surge of relief and determination. By a narrow margin, the Council had voted in favor of the alliance. Sovereign Vrinsa's form seemed to glow with an inner light as it addressed the assembled beings. "Then let it be so. From this day forward, Keplerians and humans stand as one against the Void Heralds. May our united strength be enough to stem the tide of destruction." As the meeting adjourned, Sarah found herself surrounded by her team, their faces a mix of excitement and apprehension. Dr. Patel spoke first, her voice hushed. "Captain, do you realize what this means? We're about to become part of something much bigger than we ever imagined." Sarah nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility settle even more firmly on her shoulders. "It means we have a lot of work ahead of us. But more than that, it means hope. Hope for our people, for the Keplerians, and for every world that stands in the path of the Void Heralds." As they left the council chamber, Sarah caught sight of Ambassador Zixtol waiting in the corridor. The Keplerian's skin shimmered with what she had come to recognize as a mix of emotions: relief, excitement, and a touch of fear. "You have done what many thought impossible, Captain Chen," Zixtal said, its mental voice filled with admiration. "You have given us a chance where before we saw only inevitability." Sarah smiled, though her eyes remained serious. "We've only just begun, Ambassador. The real challenge lies ahead, but together, I believe we can face whatever the galaxy throws at us." As they walked together towards the research facilities, ready to begin the next phase of their collaboration, Sarah couldn't help but reflect on the journey that had brought them to this point. What had started as a mission of exploration and diplomacy had become something far greater: the forging of an alliance that could reshape the future of two species and stand against a threat to all life in the galaxy. The path ahead was uncertain, fraught with dangers they could scarcely imagine. But as Sarah looked at her team, at the Keplerians working alongside them, she felt a spark of hope. Humanity had taken its first steps into a larger universe, and though the challenges were great, so too was their determination to meet them head-on. As the twin suns of Kepler 186f began to set, bathing the floating cities in an ethereal glow, Sarah Chen knew that this was only the beginning. The real adventure, and the real test of humanity's resolve, was yet to come. The Forge of Stars. As the crimson light of Kepler 186's twin suns bathed the floating citadels in an otherworldly glow, Captain Sarah Chen stood at the precipice of humanity's greatest challenge. The alliance between Earth and the Keplerians was barely a month old, yet already it faced its first crucible. "Incoming transmission from Earth Command, Captain," Lieutenant O'Neill's voice crackled through the comm. Sarah straightened her uniform, bracing herself for what was to come. The holographic display flickered to life, revealing the stern visage of Admiral Helena Zhao. "Captain Chen, I hope you understand the gravity of what you set in motion." The Admiral's voice was tight, with barely contained frustration. "The UN Security Council is in an uproar. Half of them think you've lost your mind. The other half want to fast-track a fleet to Kepler 186. Sarah met the Admiral's gaze unflinchingly. "With all due respect, Admiral, we don't have the luxury of bureaucratic squabbles. The Void Heralds are real and they're coming. Earth needs to be ready." Admiral Zhao's expression softened slightly. "I believe you, Sarah. But belief isn't enough. We need proof, something tangible to show the doubters back home." As if on cue, alarms blared throughout the Keplerian command center. Zixtal's mental voice resonated with urgency. "Captain Chen, we have detected a Void Herald scout ship entering the system. This is our chance." Sarah's heart raced. This was it, the moment that could change everything. "Admiral, stand by. We're about to get your proof." What followed was a symphony of organized chaos. Keplerian defense systems hummed to life, their bioorganic technology pulsing with ethereal energy. Human ingenuity meshed with alien wisdom as Sarah and her team coordinated with their Keplerian allies. "Dr. Patel, is the Xenotech interface online?" Sarah barked into her comm. "Affirmative, Captain." Aisha's excited voice came through. "The neural link is stable. We're seeing through Keplerian eyes." On the main view screen, a horrifying sight materialized. The Void Herald scout ship was a writhing mass of biomechanical terror, its surface crawling with what looked like a fusion of circuitry and pulsing veins. "By all that's holy," O'Neill whispered, his face pale. Sarah steeled herself. "This is what we've prepared for, people. Let's show these cosmic horrors what happens when they mess with Earth and Kepler." The battle that ensued was like nothing in human history. Keplerian energy weapons lashed out, guided by the combined mental might of their operators. But it was the human element that turned the tide. Maya Rodriguez, interfacing with the alien tech through a jury-rigged neural link, saw a pattern in the Herald ship's defenses. "Captain, their shields fluctuate on a quantum level. If we time our attacks to match the frequency, do it," Sarah ordered. A precise burst of Keplerian energy, timed to Maya's calculations, punched through the Herald's defenses. The alien vessel writhed in apparent agony, its biomechanical form twisting in ways that defied physics. "Containment field ready," Zixtal announced. "We can capture it for study." As the crippled Herald ship was enveloped in a shimmering bubble of Keplerian energy, Sarah turned back to the still open channel with Earth. Admiral Zoe's face was a mask of awe and disbelief. "My God, Sarah, what have you gotten us into?" Sarah allowed herself a grim smile. "The fight for our future, Admiral, and we've just won the first round." In the days that followed, Earth was thrown into a frenzy of preparation. The captured Herald Scout provided invaluable data, confirming humanity's worst fears and greatest hopes. The threat was real, but so was the possibility of victory. As Sarah walked through the halls of the newly established Earth-Kepler Joint Defense Academy, she marveled at how quickly things had progressed. Human scientists worked alongside Keplerian mentors, their minds linked through advanced neural interfaces. In training simulations, human pilots flew ships that responded to thought as much as touch, their reflexes enhanced by alien biotechnology. But it wasn't all smooth sailing. Cultural clashes were inevitable as two vastly different species learned to work together. Sarah found herself playing diplomat as much as soldier, mediating disputes and fostering understanding. One particularly tense moment came during a joint training exercise. A young human cadet, frustrated with the complexity of Keplerian thought-based controls, lashed out verbally at his alien instructor. The Keplerian, unused to human emotional outbursts, recoiled in shock, its skin flashing patterns of distress. Sarah stepped in, her voice firm but understanding. "Cadet Phillips, I know this is frustrating, but remember why we're here. The Void Heralds won't give us time to sort out our differences. We need to learn from each other to become stronger together." The cadet's face flushed with shame. "I'm sorry, Captain, and I'm sorry, Instructor Lixner. I'll do better." As the tension dissipated, Sarah saw something that gave her hope, human and Keplerian, reaching out to understand each other, bridging the gap between their species one interaction at a time. But even as progress was made, a new threat loomed on the horizon. Reports came in of increased Void Herald activity in nearby systems. It seemed their capture of the scout ship had not gone unnoticed. In a high-level briefing, Sovereign Vreensa's mental voice resonated with grave concern. "The Heralds are gathering their forces. We believe they plan to strike at Kepler 186 directly. If our world falls, Earth will surely be next." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. This was it, the moment that would define two species and perhaps the fate of the galaxy itself. Sarah stood, her voice unwavering. "Then we make our stand here. Earth, Kepler, united against the darkness. We've come too far to back down now." As preparations for the coming battle intensified, Sarah found a quiet moment to reflect. Looking out over the ethereal landscape of Kepler 186f, she thought about the journey that had brought her here. From a simple mission of first contact to standing on the brink of an interstellar war, it was almost too much to comprehend. A gentle mental touch alerted her to Zixtal's presence. The Keplerian ambassador joined her at the viewport, its iridescent skin shimmering with a mix of emotions. "Your thoughts are troubled, Sarah Chen," Zixtal observed. Sarah nodded, not bothering to hide her concerns from her alien friend. "I can't help but wonder if we're ready for this, Zixtal. We've come so far in such a short time, but the Void Heralds have been at this for millennia." Zixtal's reply came not in words, but in a series of mental impressions, images of humans and Keplerians working together, the triumphs they'd already achieved, the bonds forged in the face of adversity. "You underestimate the power of unity, my friend," Zixtal said aloud. "Separately, our peoples were formidable. Together, we are a force that even the Heralds cannot ignore." As if to underscore Zixtal's words, a commotion erupted in the nearby research lab. Sarah and Zixtal rushed to investigate, finding Dr. Patel and her Keplerian counterpart, Nixthal, in a state of excited agitation. "Captain, Ambassador, you need to see this," Aisha exclaimed, her eyes shining with the thrill of discovery. On the lab's main screen, a simulation played out. It showed a Void Herald ship, its defenses failing against a coordinated attack of Keplerian energy weapons and what looked like human missiles. "We've done it," Nexthal's mental voice thrummed with pride. "By combining Keplerian phase-shift technology with human kinetic weaponry, we've created a hybrid weapon capable of penetrating Herald defenses with unprecedented efficiency." Sarah felt a surge of hope. This could change everything. "How soon can we implement this on a large scale?" "That's the beauty of it, Captain," Aisha grinned. "The principles are simple enough that we can retrofit existing Earth vessels with minimal modifications. And the Keplerian fleet can adapt their energy weapons almost instantly." As word of the breakthrough spread, a palpable sense of excitement filled the air. For the first time since learning of the Void Herald threat, there was a feeling that victory might not just be possible, but achievable. In the weeks that followed, the combined fleet of Earth and Kepler underwent a rapid transformation. Human ships, once considered primitive by Keplerian standards, were enhanced with alien tech, their hulls gleaming with newly installed energy matrices. Keplerian vessels hummed with the addition of human-designed kinetic launchers, a seeming step backward that paradoxically made them more lethal than ever. But even as they prepared for war, Sarah knew that technology alone wouldn't be enough. The key to victory would lie in the hearts and minds of those who crewed these ships, human and Keplerian alike. In a bold move, she proposed a series of crew exchanges. Human officers would serve aboard Keplerian ships, and vice versa. The initial reactions were mixed, with skepticism and resistance on both sides. But as the program got underway, something remarkable began to happen. Humans, linked into Keplerian neural networks, found their consciousness expanded in ways they had never imagined. The universe seemed to open up before them, revealing secrets of quantum mechanics and dimensional physics that had eluded Earth's greatest minds. Keplerians, in turn, were astounded by the intuitive leaps and out-of-the-box thinking their human counterparts brought to problem-solving. Ideas that would have taken years to formulate through traditional Keplerian consensus building were sparked in moments of human inspiration. As the day of battle drew near, Sarah stood before a mixed assembly of human and Keplerian crew members. The air was thick with tension, but also with a sense of shared purpose that transcended species. "Look around you," Sarah began, her voice carrying to every corner of the vast hangar. "A year ago, we didn't know each other existed. Today we stand as one, the first truly united front this galaxy has ever seen." She paused, letting her gaze sweep across the assembled faces, human and alien, yet all wearing the same determined expression. "The Void Heralds think they're invincible. They've consumed countless worlds, erased entire civilizations from existence. But they've never faced anything like us before. We are the combined strength of two worlds, the best of what humanity and Kepler have to offer." A cheer went up, a strange harmony of human voices and Keplerian mental projections. "When we go into battle," Sarah continued, her voice rising with passion, "we carry with us the hopes of two planets, the legacy of countless generations. We fight not just for survival, but for a future where our children, human and Keplerian alike, can look to the stars with wonder instead of fear." As Sarah's words rang out, something unprecedented happened. A wave of emotion swept through the assembly, amplified by the Keplerians' telepathic abilities. Humans found themselves sensing the determination and courage of their alien comrades, while Keplerians experienced the fierce, burning resolve that had driven humanity to the stars. In that moment, they were truly one, not human, not Keplerian, but something new. Something that the Void Heralds could never have anticipated. As the cheers and mental affirmations reached a crescendo, alarms blared throughout the station. Lieutenant O'Neill's voice came over the comm, tight with tension but unafraid. "Captain Chen to the bridge." Long-range sensors have detected the Herald fleet. They'll be entering the system in less than an hour. Sarah straightened, feeling the weight of history on her shoulders. This was it, the moment that would decide the fate of two worlds and perhaps the entire galaxy. Battle stations, everyone. This is what we've prepared for. Let's show the Void Heralds what happens when they threaten our homes. As the combined fleet of Earth and Kepler moved into position, Sarah took her place on the bridge of the flagship. Around her, humans and Keplerians worked in perfect synchronization, their minds and technologies intertwined in ways that would have seemed impossible mere months ago. The vast emptiness of space loomed before them, soon to be filled with the fury of battle. But as Sarah gave the order to engage, she felt not fear, but a fierce, burning hope. For in this moment, humanity had truly taken its place among the stars, not as conquerors or victims, but as protectors, united with their alien allies against the darkness that threatened all life. The battle for Earth, for Kepler, for the very future of the galaxy was about to begin. Echoes of eternity. The void of space erupted into a kaleidoscope of destruction as the combined Earth-Kepler fleet engaged the Void Herald Armada. Captain Sarah Chen stood at the helm of the ESS Prometheus, her eyes locked on the tactical display as the battle unfolded. Herald Dreadnought at bearing 047, closing fast. Lieutenant O'Neill's voice cut through the chaos of the bridge. Sarah's mind raced, processing the flood of information from both human and Keplerian sensors. All ships execute Maneuver Omega-3. Let's show these cosmic horrors what happens when you mess with two worlds. The Prometheus banked hard, its human-designed hull thrumming with Keplerian energy. Around it, a dozen other ships, a mix of Earth and Kepler vessels, moved in perfect synchronization. The Herald Dreadnought, a writhing mass of biomechanical terror, found itself suddenly surrounded. "Fire," Sarah commanded. A barrage of hybrid weapons lashed out, Keplerian phase-shifted energy bolts interwoven with human kinetic projectiles. The Herald's defenses, formidable against either type of attack alone, crumbled under the combined assault. As the dreadnought disintegrated into a cloud of quantum particles, a cheer went up across the fleet. But Sarah knew better than to celebrate too soon. This was just the opening salvo in what promised to be the fight of their lives. Across the battlefield, extraordinary scenes played out as human ingenuity merged with Keplerian cosmic wisdom. A squadron of Earth fighters, their cockpits augmented with Keplerian neural interfaces, danced through debris fields with impossible precision. Their human pilots, minds expanded by alien technology, anticipated the Herald's movements seconds before they happened. Keplerian cruisers, their energy weapons now supplemented with railguns of human design, unleashed devastating broadsides that shattered Herald formations. In the heart of the Prometheus, Dr. Aisha Patel worked feverishly alongside her Keplerian counterpart, Nixthal. Their minds linked through a prototype dual-species neural net. They pushed the boundaries of physics itself, recalibrating weapons on the fly to counter the Herald's adaptive defenses. But for all their preparation, for all the power of their newfound unity, the Void Heralds were a force of cosmic terror. Where one Herald ship fell, two more seemed to take its place, each more horrifying than the last. "Captain, we've got a problem." Maya Rodriguez's voice crackled over the comm. "The Heralds are adapting faster than we anticipated. Our hybrid weapons are losing effectiveness." Sarah gritted her teeth. They'd known this was a possibility, but hoped it wouldn't happen so soon. Fall back to secondary positions. We need to buy time for Aisha and Nixthal to find a solution. As the fleet regrouped, Sarah felt a familiar mental touch. Zixtal's voice resonated in her mind, tinged with both worry and determination. "Sarah, we may have one last option, but it's risky, perhaps even suicidal." "At this point, I'm open to anything, old friend," Sarah replied, watching as another Earth cruiser succumbed to the relentless Herald assault. "There is an ancient Keplerian technique," Zixtal explained, a way to channel the very essence of a star into a weapon. But it requires a direct neural link to the stellar core, a link that would almost certainly be fatal to the user. Sarah's blood ran cold. Absolutely not. I won't sacrifice. Her words were cut short as a massive explosion rocked the Prometheus. Warning klaxons blared as systems failed across the ship. Hull breach on decks 3 through 7. O'Neill shouted over the din. We've lost main power. As emergency systems kicked in, Sarah made a decision that would echo through history. Zixtal, prep the stellar link. I'll do it myself. Protests erupted from both her human crew and Keplerian allies, but Sarah silenced them with a look. This isn't up for debate. Get me to that neural interface. The rest of you, buy us as much time as you can. What followed was a desperate race against time. As the fleet fought a holding action against the seemingly unstoppable Herald Armada, Sarah was rushed to a specially prepared chamber deep within the Prometheus. The neural interface was a nightmarish fusion of Keplerian biotech and human cybernetics. As Sarah was strapped in, Zixtal's mental voice was heavy with emotion. Sarah Chen of Earth, know that your sacrifice will never be forgotten. Sarah managed a grim smile. Let's hope it works then, for both our worlds. As the interface activated, Sarah's consciousness expanded beyond anything she had ever experienced. She felt the vast, roiling energy of Kepler 100 and 86's twin suns, their stellar hearts beating in time with her own. The power was intoxicating, terrifying, and exactly what they needed. With a thought that resonated across light years, Sarah reached out and touched the stars themselves. The effect was instantaneous and awe-inspiring. Tendrils of solar plasma, guided by Sarah's empowered will, lashed out across the battlefield. Herald ships caught in their path simply ceased to exist, their matter and energy completely unmade. The tide of battle turned in moments. The remaining Herald vessels, facing a power they could neither comprehend nor counter, began a chaotic retreat. But the victory came at a terrible cost. As the last Herald ship vanished into the depths of space, the neural link went dark. Sarah Chen, savior of two worlds, slumped lifeless in the interface chair. The aftermath of the battle was a bittersweet symphony of triumph and mourning. As news of their victory spread, celebrations erupted across Earth and Kepler. But for those who had fought alongside Sarah, who had come to know her courage and compassion, the loss was profound. In a solemn ceremony attended by leaders of both worlds, Captain Sarah Chen was laid to rest. Her body, forever changed by its brief communion with the stars, was encased in a crystal sarcophagus that pulsed with residual stellar energy. Admiral Zhao, her voice thick with emotion, addressed the assembled mourners. Sarah Chen embodied the very best of humanity, our curiosity, our determination, our willingness to sacrifice for the greater good. But more than that, she showed us that our future lies not in isolation, but in unity with those different from ourselves. Sovereign Vrinsa, its mental voice resonating with a depth of feeling few had ever sensed from a Keplerian, added, in Captain Chen, we saw the bridge between our peoples. Her legacy will light our way forward, a beacon of hope in the vast darkness of space. As the ceremony concluded, something unprecedented occurred. A wave of emotion, grief, gratitude, and fierce determination swept through the assembled crowd. Humans found themselves sensing the thoughts of their Keplerian allies, while the aliens experienced the raw, unfiltered feelings of their human counterparts. In that moment of shared sorrow and resolve, the last barriers between the two species fell away. They were no longer simply allies against a common foe, but truly one people, united in their commitment to defend life and explore the cosmos. Months passed, and the Earth-Kepler alliance grew stronger. The threat of the Void Heralds, while diminished, still loomed on the galactic horizon. But now, they faced a united front unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Research into the power Sarah had wielded continued, with scientists of both species working to harness stellar energy safely. The first successful test of a controlled stellar lance, witnessed by a mixed crew of humans and Keplerians, was hailed as the dawn of a new era in defensive technology. But perhaps the most profound change came in the form of a new generation. The first human Keplerian hybrid children were born, their existence a testament to the depths of understanding and connection the two species had achieved. These children, with their unique blend of human imagination and Keplerian cosmic awareness, would grow to become the pioneers of a new age, explorers and defenders, bridging the gap between worlds in ways that ancestors could scarcely have imagined. As the Alliance's first deep space exploration vessel prepared to launch, christened the SSV Sarah Chen, Lieutenant Jack O'Neill, now Captain O'Neill, stood on the bridge. Beside him, a holographic projection of Zixtal shimmered into existence. "Are you ready, my friend?" the Keplerian asked, its mental voice tinged with excitement. Jack smiled, thinking of how far they'd come, of the sacrifices made, and the wonders yet to be discovered. "As ready as we'll ever be. Let's see what's out there." As the Sarah Chen engaged its revolutionary hybrid drive, punching a hole through the very fabric of space-time, Jack couldn't help but feel that Sarah was watching over them. Her sacrifice had opened the door to a future brighter than anyone could have imagined, a future where the combined strengths of humanity and Kepler would light the way through the cosmic dark. The ship disappeared in a flash of quantum energy, carrying with it the hopes and dreams of two worlds united. And somewhere, in the vast tapestry of the cosmos, the echoes of Sarah Chen's final world-saving thought continued to resonate, a reminder that in unity, in the coming together of different peoples and ideas, lay the true power to shape the destiny of the stars themselves. Quantum Nexus. The SSV Sarah Chen emerged from its quantum leap on the edge of the Andromeda Galaxy, its hybrid engines humming with power born from the union of human and Keplerian technology. Captain Jack O'Neill stood on the bridge, his eyes wide with wonder as he took in the vista of an entirely new cosmic neighborhood. "By all that's holy," he whispered, "we actually did it." Zixtal's holographic form shimmered beside him, the Keplerian's mental voice resonating with a mix of awe and pride. The first intergalactic jump in the history of our peoples. Sarah would be proud. As the crew, a seamless blend of humans and Keplerians, bustled around them, running diagnostics and cataloging the wealth of new data pouring in from their sensors, Jack couldn't help but reflect on the journey that had brought them here. It had been 5 years since the Battle of Twin Suns, where Captain Sarah Chen's sacrifice had turned the tide against the Void Heralds. In that time, the Earth-Kepler alliance had flourished, pushing the boundaries of science and exploration in ways neither species could have achieved alone. The Sarah Chen itself was a testament to that progress. Its hull, a shimmering latticework of advanced alloys and bioorganic compounds, housed technologies that would have seemed like magic just a few years ago. Quantum computers interfaced directly with Keplerian psionic matrices, allowing for calculations and navigational feats that defied conventional physics. But it wasn't just the technology that made this ship special. It was the crew, the perfect synthesis of human intuition and Keplerian cosmic awareness. "Captain," called out Lieutenant Zong, the ship's young science officer, "you're going to want to see this." Jack moved to her station, where a holographic display showed a series of energy readings unlike anything he'd ever seen. "What am I looking at, Lieutenant?" Aria's eyes gleamed with excitement. "It's a quantum nexus, sir. A confluence of dimensional energies that shouldn't be possible according to any known laws of physics. It's beautiful." Zixtal's form flickered as he processed the data. Fascinating. This nexus could be the key to understanding the very fabric of reality itself. Jack nodded, feeling the weight of the moment. "Looks like we stumbled onto something big on our very first outing. Helm, take us in for a closer look. But keep our distance. We don't know what that thing is capable of." As the Sarah Chen cautiously approached the quantum nexus, the crew worked in perfect harmony. Human hands danced over control panels, while Keplerian minds reached out, sensing the ebb and flow of cosmic energies. Suddenly, alarms blared across the bridge. "Captain," shouted the tactical officer, "we're detecting a massive energy surge from the Nexus." Before Jack could respond, a blinding flash of light engulfed the ship. For a moment that seemed to stretch into eternity, every member of the crew felt their consciousness expand, touching the very edges of the universe itself. When the light faded, the view outside the ship had changed dramatically. Gone was the star-studded expanse of Andromeda. In its place was nothing, an absolute void, darker than the deepest reaches of space. "Status report," Jack barked, fighting off a wave of disorientation. "All systems operational, Captain," came the reply. "But, sir, we're not detecting any stellar bodies. No planets, no stars, nothing." Zixtal's hologram flickered erratically, his mental voice strained. "Captain O'Neill, I believe we may have shifted, not just in space, but in time. Perhaps even in dimension." A hush fell over the bridge as the implications sank in. They were lost, adrift in a reality they couldn't comprehend. But Jack O'Neill hadn't come this far to give up now. "All right, people, let's not panic. We've got the best minds from two worlds on this ship. If anyone can figure this out, it's us." Over the next several days, if such a concept even applied in this strange realm, the crew of the Sarah Chen worked tirelessly to understand their situation and find a way home. Dr. Ilara Vox, the ship's Keplerian xenophysicist, made a breakthrough on the third day. "Captain," she announced, her mental voice thrumming with excitement, "I believe I've identified the nature of our predicament. We're in what I can only describe as a null space, a pocket dimension that exists between the folds of our universe." Jack leaned forward, intrigued. "Go on, Doctor." "This null space," Ilara continued, "it's malleable, responsive to conscious thought in a way our home dimension isn't. I believe that with the right combination of technology and psionic energy, we might be able to shape it, create a bridge back to our reality." It was a long shot, but it was all they had. For the next week, the entire crew threw themselves into the task. Humans and Keplerians worked side by side, pushing the limits of their hybrid technology and their own mental capabilities. They constructed a device unlike anything seen before, a quantum forge that channeled the psionic energy of the entire crew, amplified by the ship's advanced systems. The plan was to use this combined power to punch a hole through the fabric of null space, creating a tunnel back to their home dimension. As the day of the attempt arrived, tension on the ship was palpable. Everyone knew the risks. If they failed, they might be trapped in this featureless void forever, or worse, torn apart by the very forces they were attempting to harness. Jack stood at the center of the bridge, surrounded by his crew. Humans and Keplerians alike looked to him, their faces a mix of fear and determination. "I won't lie to you," he began, his voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. "What we're about to attempt is dangerous. It's unprecedented. But look around you. We are the inheritors of two great legacies, the unbreakable spirit of humanity and the cosmic wisdom of Kepler. Together, we've already achieved the impossible. Now, we're going to do it again." A cheer went up, a strange harmony of human voices and Keplerian mental projections. As one, the crew took their positions. "Initiate the quantum forge," Jack commanded. The ship hummed to life, every system pushed to its limits. In the null space outside, tendrils of energy began to coalesce, shaped by the combined will of the crew. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, with a sound that defied description, reality itself split open before them. Through the rift, they could see the familiar stars of the Milky Way. "We've done it," Aria shouted, her voice filled with jubilation. "Captain, the rift is stable." Jack allowed himself a small smile. "Take us home, Helm. Nice and easy." As the Sarah Chen glided through the dimensional rift, Jack felt a surge of pride unlike anything he'd ever experienced. They had faced the unknown, stared into the void itself, and emerged victorious. The ship erupted in celebration as they re-entered familiar space, the star charts confirming they were back in the Milky Way. But even as relief washed over him, Jack knew their adventure was far from over. They had glimpsed something profound in that null space, a truth about the nature of reality that could change everything, and with that knowledge came responsibility. As the Sarah Chen set course for Earth, Jack made a silent vow. They would share what they had learned, push the boundaries even further. For in that moment, he understood that this was humanity's true destiny, not just to explore the stars, but to unravel the very mysteries of existence itself. The quantum nexus had shown them a glimpse of infinity. Now, it was up to them to chart the course forward into a future limited only by the depths of their courage and the power of their unity. As Earth grew larger in the viewscreen, Jack thought of Sarah Chen, of the sacrifice that had made all this possible. "We did it, Sarah," he whispered. "We're just getting started." The Sarah Chen's return would mark the beginning of a new era, one where the combined ingenuity of Earth and Kepler would unlock the secrets of the cosmos, forging a path to wonders yet unimagined. The universe, in all its infinite complexity, awaited. Cosmic Crucible. The return of the SSV Sarah Chen to Earth sparked a global sensation unlike anything in human history. As the ship descended through the atmosphere, its hull still shimmering with residual energy from its interdimensional journey, millions watched in awe. The streets of every major city were filled with cheering crowds, their faces upturned to the sky in wonder. Captain Jack O'Neill stood on the bridge, his heart racing as he prepared to face the world. Beside him, Zixtal's holographic form flickered with anticipation. "Are you ready to change the course of two civilizations, my friend?" the Keplerian asked. Jack managed a wry smile. "As ready as I'll ever be. Let's make Sarah proud." As they stepped off the ship onto the grounds of the United Earth Space Command headquarters, they were greeted by a sea of faces, human and Keplerian diplomats, scientists, and military leaders from across the galaxy. At the forefront stood Admiral Helena Zhao, her face a mask of carefully controlled emotion. "Welcome home, Captain O'Neill," she said, her voice carrying across the assembled crowd. "I believe you have quite the story to tell us." What followed was a debriefing that would go down in history as the revelation of New Houston, named after the city where it took place. For hours, Jack and his crew recounted their incredible journey, the discovery of the quantum nexus, their shift into null space, and the profound implications of what they had learned about the nature of reality itself. As holographic displays showed the mind-bending data they had collected, gasps of astonishment rippled through the audience. Renowned physicists wept openly as long-held theories were shattered and reborn in the span of moments. But it was Dr. Ilara Vox's presentation on the malleability of null space that truly captured the world's imagination. "What we've discovered," she explained, her mental voice resonating with excitement, "is nothing short of a new frontier in physics. The ability to shape reality itself through focused thought and advanced technology." The implications were staggering. Faster-than-light travel, terraforming on an unprecedented scale, even the possibility of creating pocket universes, all suddenly within reach. As the debriefing concluded, a palpable sense of excitement filled the air. Humanity and their Keplerian allies stood on the brink of a new age of exploration and discovery. But with that promise came a grave responsibility. Admiral Zhao took the podium, her face somber despite the electrifying revelations. "What the crew of the Sarah Chen has brought back to us is nothing short of revolutionary, but we must proceed with caution. The power to shape reality is not one to be taken lightly." Her words proved prophetic. In the months that followed, as news of the null space discovery spread, the Earth-Kepler alliance faced challenges on an unprecedented scale. Fringe groups, both human and Keplerian, began to emerge, claiming that the power of null space should be used to reshape reality according to their ideologies. Terrorist attacks on research facilities became a grave concern, as extremists sought to either control or destroy the new technology. Meanwhile, reports began to surface of individuals manifesting strange abilities: telekinesis, spontaneous teleportation, even the power to alter local physics. It seemed that exposure to the data from null space was awakening latent potentials in certain individuals, creating a new class of beings that the media dubbed null walkers. The Alliance found itself fighting battles on multiple fronts, against those who would abuse the new power, and to protect and understand the emerging null walkers. In the midst of this chaos, Captain Jack O'Neill and his crew were called upon once again. Their mission: to lead a task force into the heart of null space itself, to establish a permanent research base and defend it against all threats. The day of launch arrived, and the newly christened Null fleet assembled in Earth orbit. At its center was the SSV Sarah Chen, now upgraded with the latest Null space-derived technology. Jack stood on the bridge, surveying his fleet with a mix of pride and trepidation. "All ships report ready, Captain," Lieutenant Ariazong announced, her voice steady despite the weight of the moment. Jack nodded, feeling the eyes of two worlds upon him. "Then let's make history again. Initiate null space transition." As one, the fleet engaged their quantum forges. Reality itself seemed to bend and twist around them, and then they were through. The featureless void of null space stretched out before them, a canvas awaiting the brush of creation. But they were not alone. As the fleet's sensors came online, they detected something impossible: structures floating in the void, vast geometries that defied comprehension. And moving among them, entities of pure energy, their very existence an affront to the laws of physics as they knew them. "My God," Jack breathed, "we're not the first ones here." Zixtal's hologram flickered with alarm. "Captain, we're being hailed, if you can call it that. It's more like a cosmic resonance." As the strange signal washed over the bridge, every crew member felt their consciousness expand. In that moment of transcendent awareness, they understood. These beings were the architects, ancient entities that had evolved beyond the constraints of normal space-time. They were the true shapers of reality, and they had been waiting for a species to reach this level of cosmic awareness. Through a form of communication that transcended language, the architects conveyed a truth that shook Jack to his core. The universe as they knew it was but one of infinite realities, all connected through the quantum foam of null space. And now, humanity and the Keplerians had been chosen to join the cosmic community of reality shapers. But with this invitation came a warning. The power they now wielded could create wonders beyond imagination, or horrors that could unravel the very fabric of existence. As the cosmic vision faded, Jack found himself back on the bridge, his mind reeling from the implications of what he'd just experienced. He looked around at his crew, human and Keplerian alike, and saw in their eyes the same mix of awe, fear, and determination that he felt. "Well," he said, his voice barely above a whisper, "I guess we've got our work cut out for us." In that moment, Jack understood that their journey had only just begun. The null space base they had come to establish would become not just a scientific outpost, but a school of cosmic architecture, a place where the brightest minds of Earth and Kepler would learn to wield the very forces of creation. As the fleet moved deeper into null space, guided by the ethereal presence of the architects, Jack thought of Sarah Chen. He imagined her smile, her unwavering courage in the face of the unknown. "We did it, Sarah," he said softly. "We found our place in the cosmos, and it's grander than we ever could have imagined." The SSV Sarah Chen led the way, its hull gleaming with possibilities yet unrealized. Before them lay the ultimate frontier, not just of space, but of reality itself. And as they ventured forth into this brave new cosmos, Jack knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together. Human and Keplerian, united in their quest to understand and shape the very foundations of existence. The cosmic crucible awaited, ready to forge them into something new, guardians of reality, students of the infinite, explorers of the multiverse. Their greatest adventure was just beginning.